tell me if this has ever happened to you. My daughter's friend has a birthday coming up. We have about a week until the party, and nothing that I've offered to buy this friend will satisfy what my daughter has in mind. She says, I'm a quilter, let's make her a quilt. I don't have time for that, but I do have time to make a self-binding blanket. Stay tuned and I'll show you how quick and easy it is to make a self-binding blanket. Hi, I'm Julie of JCT Quilting, and I want to help you turn your memories into quilted treasures. In this video, I'm going to show you how I take a quilt top and turn it into a self-binding blanket. Now, why am I calling it a blanket and not a quilt? Because in this case, I'm working with a quilt top. I have sewn these patchwork squares together, but I am not quilting it. I did not use batting, nor will I be using batting for this project, and I will not be quilting. There will not be 3 layers, no batting, and there won't be any stitching. There will be a little bit of stitching to adhere this to the backing using the self-binding process, and then to top stitch that in place, but there won't be quilting throughout. So I'll be calling it a self-binding blanket, but you could easily work with, instead of just a plain quilt top, you could easily have attached this to batting and quilted it to just batting. You wouldn't have to worry about backing fabric, so just quilt it, adhere it to batting, and then you'd be working with a quilted quilt top and you would be making a self-binding quilt. I also am not working with t-shirts for this project. I just needed to throw a project together from my daughter's friend whose birthday is coming up, and so it wasn't a memory fabric project, but I wanted to show you how to do this regardless. But you could easily do this with memory fabric. Take your memory fabric, make it into a quilt top, your choice whether or not you want to quilt it, and then apply this self-binding method. This is an example of one that my daughter and I made previously, and I just want to show you why it's called the self-binding method. You're not working with traditional binding. There is no seam on the front or back. We will take our backing and we will bring it to the front, and we will stitch it to the quilt top that we have, and then it's harder to see because of the minky, but you can do a top stitch to hold it in place. You can see it on the back. There is a top stitch line, but there is no quilting. So all you need is your quilt top and your minky, or whatever you're using on the back. This is a good minky project, but you could use regular quilting cotton, cuddle fabric, whatever you want, but that's all you need. Your backing and your quilt top. For this project, you will need your backing fabric, your quilt top, it can be quilted or not quilted, a marking utensil. This will not need to be erased, so you can use a Sharpie or anything that will show up on your fabrics. You need pins, and if you like clips, you can also use clips, but there is a part of the process for which pins are particularly useful. So you will want pins, but you can also use clips for another part if you would like. You also need your favorite quilting ruler. It doesn't have to be huge, but it does need to be at least a few inches tall. You're most likely wondering, how big should your quilt top be and how much backing do you need? You want about 10 extra inches. I sometimes fudge those rules. I don't recommend doing that, but I'm not always perfect about it. I like to not have to piece the backing. So I work with the width of fabric that is with the backing, and then that determines how wide my quilt top will be. Then I determine how tall to make my quilt top, and then that determines how much I cut. So ideally, with a 48-inch backing, I would want my quilt top to be 38. My quilt top's about 40. For look and just for size and how big we wanted it, we ended up piecing enough squares so that it is a 60-inch tall quilt top. So instead of getting 70 inches, I just went for 2 yards of minky. So I'm lucky, that's what I had in the closet. But if I hadn't and I knew I was using the minky, I would just go to the cutting counter and ask for 2 yards. We're going to start by finding the midpoints on all the sides on the backing fabric. You can fold it in half, you can measure it, whatever method you prefer, but find that midpoint, make a little mark with your pen, and then move on to the next side, find the midpoint, and continue for all 4 sides. Your mark doesn't have to be huge, it just needs to be big enough for you to see it, and I recommend putting it on the wrong side of the fabric. Once you've done that for all 4 sides of your backing fabric, you're going to go ahead and do the same thing for the quilt top. Also on the quilt top, I mark a section that I want to leave open. You're going to sew all 4 sides shut, so you want to make sure you remind yourself to leave a few inches open, maybe 5 or 6, big enough for your hand to get through and turn it right side out. You also need to mark 1/4-inch squares on all 4 corners of the quilt top. Now that everything is marked, I'm going to take each side and line them up. So I'm taking the top of my backing and lining the midpoint up with the midpoint on the top of my quilt top. I like to use clips at this part, but you could also use pins. You will have extra fabric on each ends, extra backing fabric in each corner, and that's great. That's what you should have. Once one side is pinned or clipped, you could go sew, or I like to do all 4 sides and then go sit and sew. For every side, you're going to follow the same process. Match the midpoints, those lines that you made, pin or clip all the way to both corners. There will be extra fabric on the backing left over, just let it hang, and then move on to the next side. Now it's time to sew. We're going to start at a corner at the 1/4 inch mark. You're not going to start all the way at the edge of the fabric. You're going to come a 1/4 inch in, back stitch to lock that stitch in place, and then sew all the way till the next 1/4 inch line at the next corner. When you get to the section that you marked for leaving that gap, back stitch to lock it so that you don't rip stitches when you're turning it. I also recommend before you cut that thread, pivot and stitch to the edge of the fabric. Leaving this little 1/4 inch stitch will help when you're trying to turn the fabric under for your top stitching. I also leave this little stitch when I start back again at the other side of the pocket. I've just found that this little 1/4 inch perpendicular stitch can make a huge difference in ease of turning that fabric under. If you're using minky or something similar to that for backing, remember that it is slippery. So the fabric might move a little bit while you're using. I recommend putting that fabric on the back or by closer to the feed dogs and just do your best. It's okay and it'll still look great in the end, even if it wiggles a little bit. Once you've stitched all 4 sides corner to corner or 1/4 inch line to 1/4 inch line, you're ready for the next step. Remember, you're going to have extra fabric at your corners from the backing, and that's okay. It's supposed to be that way. Now we're going to miter those corners. Fold your fabric along the corners, so you're lining up at the corner 2 of the sides. What you want is to then fold over that remaining backing fabric that's hanging. It won't fold over perfectly, or it may not, and it might not match up perfectly, but you just want it to fold over in such a way that it's laying flat, and you need to find where your edge of your stitch is. Line up your ruler so that the edge of the ruler goes along the edge of that stitch, and then use the ruler lines to line up the bottom of the fabric. So I want to make sure a line on my ruler lines up perfectly with the bottom edge of my backing fabric. This is going to give me a perpendicular corner at the bottom corner of that backing fabric, which is exactly what I need for a mitered corner. Use your marking utensil to draw a line. This will be part of the seam. You will not see it, so it's okay if it's not an erasable pen. You can go stitch that seam now. I prefer to do all 4 corners at once, so I'm going to use clips or pins to hold that fabric in place so that it stays flat and is ready for me at the machine. Then I'm going to move on and mark the other corners before I sit. As with traditional binding, I find that there's always one corner that just gives me a hard time. Just keep at it. Sometimes I need to open the whole thing up again, lay it flat, and start over with folding and laying the fabric out. But eventually I will get it, and you can too. So just keep at it. Get those corners folded in half. Get those markings, those perpendicular markings in place, and then you'll be ready to sew. At the sewing machine, stitch along the black line you've drawn and backstitch at the beginning and end of the stitch. Before you trim the excess fabric at the corners, you might want to double check that the miter is correct. I like to reach in, grab one corner, pull it out, make sure the miter is correct. It's the nice V that I'm looking for. Then I will stuff it back in, trim off the excess tail about a 1/4 inch from the line that I've sewn or drawn, and then I'll do the same thing with the next corner. So I'm not fully turning the whole blanket yet, I'm just checking each corner. Once each corner is checked and trimmed, it's time to turn the blanket right side out. So reach into your hole and slowly and patiently, just little by little, pull the right sides out of that little hole that you've left. This can sometimes take a little bit of work and a little bit of time, but it's worth it to go nice and slow and steady so that you don't rip any of your precious stitches. Once your blanket is fully right sides out, reach in and make sure all your corners are fully pressed out. I like to go back in that hole and use my finger to just push all the corners out the best that I can. Now lay the blanket out flat, and we're going to prepare it for the top stitching and to close that hole. This is where you need your pins because unfortunately the clips will not work. Currently there is nothing holding the quilt top and the quilt backing in their appropriate places. So we're going to top stitch around the edge of the quilt top, and we're going to close the hole at the same time. So go around, lay everything as flat as you can get it. There might be a little bit of extra fabric or bulkiness in the quilt top, and that's okay. And just pin the quilt top to the quilt backing. I like to put extra pins near the hole so that I can remind myself that I need to pay close attention when sewing that section so that I can make sure I sew the hole shut. If you did that extra perpendicular stitch at the hole when you were sewing the quilt top and the backing together, you should find that the fabrics naturally are going to lay the way you need them to lay for that hole to be sewn shut. I have also found that it is easier for me to sew on the minky than it is for me to sew on the quilt top. But you can do whichever is easier for you or whichever gives you an easier time to close that hole. Now it's time to add that top stitch. I use my 1/4 inch presser foot, but I'm actually using the left side of the presser foot as my guide along the seam of the quilt top and the minky backing. It's not going to be perfect, minky slides a little bit, but I have found that the stitching hides in the minky, it will not be noticeable, and this works really well for me. Sew all the way around the top, making sure to pay close attention to that hole to make sure it sews shut. Pivot at the corners, don't sew all the way off the edge, and don't forget to remove those pins, and then your self-binding blanket is done. Way to go! Thank you for watching this video. I hope it was helpful as you made your own self-binding blanket or quilt. Please don't forget to tag JCT Quilting when you're showing off pictures of your beautiful make. I can't wait to see what you come up with. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you can be notified when the next videos come out. And don't forget to share it with your friends so they can make a self-binding blanket too. See you next time.